Oh, hi. Welcome to Open Contact TV. I'm your host, Dave, and this is...
Hi, I'm Wendy.
So, today we decided that we'd bring to you more of the five because they're so excited and have so many more messages for you. And we might have to make this a series.
Well, we'll see how long... Sorry, my nose started to itch. We'll see how long how long they want to hang around. I have a feeling they're going to be around for just a little while anyway.
So Wendy is writing notes in her journal. Literally, the word notes, as the word notes, is 5 letters.
It's 5 letters.
And that's
so they enjoy that. They enjoy that
They're
very much.
much more excited about 5 letters than we are, but we share in their enjoyment and their sharing. And we look forward to more communication in all kinds of new ways. And we invite you to join us.
Yes.
All you have to do is think of the number 5, your hand, or a flower, or a sand dollar, or a starfish.
A starfish.
Their recommendation for connecting to them
is a starfish.
Is a starfish.
Yes, it is. So, one of the fun things about open contact and opening contact is once we open the door and we let the energy start to move through us, the information literally starts to flow through. And so they were reminding me all day long about 5-letter words and had a message for us to consider. So here we are. So we're...
So you might wonder what this has to do with open contact. And we speak about it a lot. But essentially, as your vibration raises, you're opening yourself up to contact with more things of the higher vibration. And one of the things that Bashar will talk about through Daryl Anka is the idea that in order for open contact to happen, our vibrations have to reach a certain point, or the idea and vibration of the physical contact would cause challenges for all of us here on Earth. And so one of the ways that you practice is by getting excited by different, whatever it might be. It could be excited by the idea of open contact and contact, but it could be just things of 5. And by opening yourself up and allowing the communications to come into you through your heart, the vibrations that you get accustomed to will raise and stay higher, and at some point collectively we'll all be able to meet the ETs halfway and enjoy them in our physical reality in a fully collective basis. And that's the reality that we are in now, in that you need to be in that reality first in your belief system in order to actually be in that reality. So the more you could practice being in those high vibrations, and even if it's just being excited about the number 5 or the number 4, it puts you in the higher vibration, which moves us all closer and closer and closer to open contact. So
what I was feeling today was, as I was opening contact with this information, the stream of information, they were explaining, and they wanted to explain a little bit to all of us what part they play in all this, and how we came to connect with this energy and idea. And so that's really how this all came to be. And so it's a little bit different for me to explain it as I'm going along, and yet I think that this is something that I think a lot of us who do this sort of thing, whether it's channeling, light languages, that idea, that we don't always sort of talk about the behind the scenes stuff. And there's a lot of really interesting, exciting, unbelievable sometimes. It's truly unbelievable. And I asked myself, okay, did that really just happen? And so just thinking about literally all the experiences I've had just since the video yesterday. So it's kind of interesting to think about that it's only been, not even 24 hours, I think. And so so I just wanted to share whatever little bit they have to share with us today. And
we do our best to follow our guidance and intuition, in that, do we want to do 100 shows about the number 5? Probably not. But as we're guided on a moment-by-moment basis, and the excitement continues, and it's also our excitement to do these videos and share them with you. So regardless of the topic, everything is equal in some perspective, for sure. So talking about the 5 is very exciting for us today, and they're very excited to talk about 5 and to talk with us about 5. And it doesn't really matter what it is that's causing the excitement, because as you're excited, your vibration's up and you're moving more toward a reality that you prefer. And
I want to say that I've been doing YouTube videos and channeling and light languages for 6 years now. Yet this way of this information, this energy, this connection, the way it's coming through, how I'm guided to share it with you, is different for me. And so I am just sharing my process along, because that's part of how I started, was allowing that the sharing of my process to elevate us both. And so I've shared that quote in several of my videos, in that I, Wendy, see and draw to me through divine love those beings who seek enlightenment through my process. The sharing will elevate us both now. And that is a quote through Esther Hicks, channeled by a being Theo that she channels. And so it was part of opening my door, opening contact for me, just by saying that and repeating it every day. That was part of my inviting other beings of higher love, and to open that contact with more of all that I am, so that I can know more of myself. And by sharing it with all that is, there's someone on the other side of that coin that I'm sharing it with, and the sharing elevates us both now. This sharing elevates both of us now. These sharings elevate both of us now. And when you go away from these sharings, you elevate another. And that's really what enlightenment is, and activations is really the sharing of the energy and the raising of our vibrations and our frequency to receive higher frequency information from the stream of all that is. Yet all that is and the streams of information are infinite beyond our comprehension. And for anything that we could even imagine, there is an energy source behind it, because it's source energy behind it. And so it is a creation of source expressing itself. And one of the reasons why the five, which is not a number of beings, it is not five beings, it is they express themselves as the five or five, simply because they resonate with that number, and there's so many ways in which that number connects to us, humanity, and how the number five, the sacred circuit from Sirius, is expressed. And this was part of how I began my opening contact with other beings. And so that's just part of my sharing is how do we, a lot of people don't even know how do you start, how do you even open contact with higher information. And so over the years, I've just been guided to share the ways that, all the different ways that I do that. And so now I'm even more excited to have somebody to share it with me and to create a new space, if you will, because a lot of this is because of this new vibration that we create as a team, if you will. And so it allows me and Dave to create literally a third reality and where these things can exist. And that's part of what they have to share with us is how is it that we've connected and why, and what is it that what's their connection to all of this and all of us. And so there we go. I think that was all a little preamble with that.
And probably very uniquely, in these channelings that we do, but really, all the time, but in these channelings that we have the intention, and I have the intention to act with Wendy as part of the channel and part of the connection, and to participate in a way that allows both of our energies to act together to bring through whatever it might be that's coming through to us. So it's sort of the idea of owning it.
Well, that has a lot to do with it.
And as you're describing some of your experiences. So I don't know if anyone else is doing channeling quite in this way, but the idea is that we synchronize our frequencies, which I like them to be that way all the time. Anyway.
Yes, mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
But also with the connection. And my intention is to assist Wendy in that way of amplifying the energies and acting as a bridge and whatever terms and labels you want to use. But who knows what might happen, because maybe Wendy will talk and then I will talk. We'll have to see. That's not the plan.
Well, but this has been our experience, and especially with practicing and is that we've discovered, as many, and Bashar has explained, we're literally tapping into the same frequency stream of information, and we're finding that you literally are able to, like if I'm grasping for a word or a thought,
we could finish each other's sentences, but also in a way where it's the channeled message.
Right, it sort of completes the message. And one of the ways what's happening right now, and one of the ways that we encourage, I right away I move into we, meaning us, the team, our guides, your guides, our team, in that automatic writing. Let the words come through, let it flow through, because that's part of how it opens the channel, the gate, if you will, and creates the bridge. And so I've been for the last few days simply writing down things that come through to me that they're eager to share, and it literally kind of puts me in the frequency. So anyway, there's some things that they wanted to share, and so I'm just gonna let it flow however it comes out. And as I always say, I don't have to publish it. And I guess it's a message for all of you too, that if you have things coming through and you're afraid, turn on your audio recorder and just record it, or turn on the video. But you know what? You don't have to post it. You don't have to send it out to the world.
Or just do it and do it scared.
Just do it scared.
What's the worst thing that could happen?
And that's how I've started my channels, is doing it scared. And so they'll say to you even right now, scared. 5 letters. So it's brave.
Heart.
Well,
Brave heart.
stop right there, because we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about heart. So, yes, I was just jotting down some other words, because they are part of the connection, if you will. So, I think I'll just see what happens here.
Lock.
What's that?
Locks.
We're gonna, okay. So,
Swirling them ocean.
well, this is the thing. They have this spinny feeling, and it's a little strange. I was actually spinning earlier, like spinning my body around. So, but that's a thing, and there's a reason for that. So, with that said, I think I'm just gonna sit for just a second here. I've got some excellent lemonade.
Mm-hmm. So we don't have to call for them to come, because they're always here.
This is the thing about that sort of thing, is that they, whoever they are, nothing is ever out there. Everything exists for us to connect to. And so it's just a matter of us. I can't even say that I necessarily invited this, but I invited it because of my excitement about these things. The ideas behind it. So ideas. Okay.
So you could take 3 breaths with us and feel the energy of the 5.
So one of the things that we'd like to remind all of you is that you may connect with us in that idea and image of the starfish. So as we explained a little bit yesterday about the idea of connecting with the channel in the idea and channels, because of the idea that both are very connected to this idea of starfish. And that idea alone is part of the connection, and that there are images of starfish all over the house. And we'll remind you, the word house, also 5 letters. And so one of the things that we would like to invite you to do as well is visit in your mind the place of the starfish, the ocean, also 5 letters. But the idea of the ocean is, and the idea is for the connectedness to this idea, is that it gives you sort of a feeling of the energy behind this 5th dimensional frequency, and how it flows differently, and how when you see the ocean, which the channels before you, which is where they first met and connected, and recently discovering more and more about the connections to the reasons that they're here in this area, and with respect to several other ideas and connections. At this time, however, we'd like to focus on partially the idea of one of the reasons why, well, several of the reasons why we've connected. And one of them is that the idea of the connection with the idea of human, and the word human is 5 letters, and also all the ways, so many of the ways that were not even mentioned yesterday, also about the number 5 and the number 2, and the idea of how these things combined, and again how this is represented with your animals as well. One of the reasons why we so deeply connected now with this idea of the earth, which is also 5 letters, which also uses the same letters as heart. So when you're connecting with the earth, you're connecting with your heart, the heartbeat of not just the planet, also containing 5 letters, but the plants. And when we felt the acceleration with all of you moving toward this idea of the 5th density, 5th dimensional reality, our ears perked up. And so any connections that one would have to this idea of earth and the heart and the representations of 5, and how it's mirrored over and over and over again in your reality and in your body parts, etc. And the idea of the 5 and 2, and the creation of the 5 plus the 2 additional beings, if you will, creating the 7th hybrid race. Hybrid also, the idea of repeating, the idea of 5, and 2021. So we visit you because we see in this year of 5, 2021, that you're accelerating toward that idea in that 5th dimension, 5th, 5 letters. And so as we've been entertaining these ideas with the channel through the words also 5 letters. And so we've been playing with the channels in a variety of these ideas, pointing out these energies. And so as we invite you to feel the energy of the ocean, the water is also 5 letters. And as we begin to explore more and more with you in pointing, these energies, these connections with you and your co-creation with these, we wanted to specifically focus on the word sense, S-E-N-S-E, and the idea that I entertain the idea of 5 senses as you understand in your physical reality. 5 senses. And anything beyond that is multidimensional. These 5 senses, also, each of them, sound, sight, touch, taste, smell, scent, also contain the elements of the 5. And this is carried out throughout your reality in a variety of ways. And the idea of the ocean and the waves mimics again. Even here in the house, you'll hear in the background frequently, most of the time, ocean waves playing in the background. Connecting with the whale energy as well, for they also have a very specific and special connection to our vibration and your vibration. They live in the water. Their name is 5 letters as well. And these may seem insignificant in and of themselves, yet combined and correlated, you begin to understand, you begin to see your own breadcrumbs, your own trail. And even in the idea of unity, unite, marry, bridegroom, lover, again, creates very specific vibrations. Words create. One of the main senses we'd simply like to offer today is the focus on is in the idea of touch and hands, and how you've been experiencing hands-off policy, basically. And as these energies begin to dissipate, along with many of you altering your vibrations toward the idea of moving toward the 5th dimension, as we ascend to our consciousness, we are also interested in your ascension. And as this idea of having a hands-off policy for such a time, we're now wanting to remind all of you about the power of touch and the state of being and state and being where you feel whole, in this idea that you are
separated.
The connection, yes, the circuits have been broken for an inordinate amount of time. And we encourage you now to re-engage even more so in the idea of physical touch. And specifically, let's focus on holding hands. It has always been a very, very powerful tool for all of you to hold hands. Whether it's your own hands, the channel herself has always held her hands in this position, primarily in her lap. Of this feeling of quiet, inner quiet, feeling the connection, the circuit, the closed circuit to the heart, to Source, God. So many of you instinctively use this connection as a way of connecting to your higher self, your Source, your God. And so we just simply like to encourage you to reignite that connection, to re-weld, resolder those connections, touch and holding hands. It creates a very powerful energy that even the word power and 5. That most of you will agree is when holding hands, it's the first gesture of love, of connection. In many cultures, you shake hands, or you touch hands, or hold one's shoulder, arm. Simply that gesture. And the gesture of just being present in that moment, fully and wholly present. Has a powerful ripple effect and has a very powerful engagement with the water within your body. And that when you are holding hands with another and literally immersing yourselves in each other's heartbeats, it literally creates a trinity, a new consciousness is created. And if you can imagine, envision the idea of the sacred flower of life, that each and every time that you recreate that connection and create that third idea, it then in of itself then continues to create that connection, creating the, if you'd like to see it as the infinite number of trinary connections. For when you are holding hands and touching hands, you are literally creating the vibration that is closest to that of source energy, and the ripples that flow out to imagine for just a moment as you observe anyone holding hands of any age, of any genders, of any ages, something happens to your heart. It literally gives it a start, another jump start. Whether it's a grandparent holding a grandchild's hand, a new parent holding the hands of their new child as they hold each other's hands, couples, young love. The moment you observe this gesture alone, you're observing, feeling that heart connection to source. So we are just simply excited to express in the ways that we are connected to all of you and your ascension process, your elevation. Often, often it is the channel's desire to share as much as possible, yet we'd like to hold her hand, hold their hands as they also walk together, experiencing these heart connections in a new way. So we leave you with these notes, if you will, from our hearts to yours, and remind you that spinning sets you free, and when you are spinning, you are childlike, and you literally set in motion a frequency of moving the love through you. And when we first shared our excitement with the channel, if you shall, let us say that when we present ourselves, we would appear to you as spinning very fast, as a star spinning very rapidly, and nearly invisible almost, if you can imagine a wheel spinning very, very fast. And so that's the energy that just the excitement of the hello, that you would use this word as such a universal greeting. And so it's a hello to yourself, it's a hello to your heart, and simply remember in the nows, moments, to take every opportunity to reconnect the circuits of touch. And we would like to remind you that physical touch is not the only manner of touch. For you can reach out your hand across the internet and touch another. The intention alone of even the visualization of greeting each other, greeting your galactic friends and families in a physical way is very powerful. And it has to begin from the heart, with an image, with a vision. Thank you for the gift of your now in sharing our expression of touch to all of you. And of course, we would also like to invite David to share anything that he share.
Well,
Share. Five.
I've been
Share.
enjoying being in the heart energy this past half hour or so, and most certainly it seems like there's going to be a lot more sharing of this 5, and I'm very much thankful and grateful for the sharing that is always taking place. I would say that as shared about holding hands and how your heart is opened up by the witnessing of seeing 2 or more others holding hands, that when you're walking with someone that you love, to keep in mind that you're holding the other person's hand not only opens up each other's hearts, but it also opens up everyone that witnesses it. And how can you change the world around you? You think that you don't matter? You think that you don't affect things? Just by walking around holding hands with the person that you love, and you would do it anyway, but maybe you're too shy, or you think you're too old for that, whatever it might be. There's never a time to not want to hold hands. And you could change people's lives by just walking by with your hands held. So,
Beautifully put. Thank you.
thank you for the opportunity to share.
And we will remind you, you are whole, and you are light. You are whole light beings. Great beings of whole great light. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for this co-creation.
Smile. Smile has 5 letters. Smile's another way to touch. Yeah, okay. I love you. I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, sure.
Until next time. Sharing.
Share.